Hi.
Hello.
So, hello, everyone. We want to go ahead and get started with our Policy and Planning Committee. Um, Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Chair Martin,
Here.
Vice Chair Hamilton, Secretary Witten,
Here.
Regent Hall,
Here.
Regent Higdon,
Here.
Regent Stevens, Regent Rabinowitz.
Here.
Well, thank you all, and appreciate it. And I know that it's a Thursday, and we've had some really bad weather. So,
Yeah.
has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes? Any changes to the minutes needed? If none, do we need to have a motion?
So moved, Brianna Witness.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Shannon, do you want to take the roll?
Was that Regent Hall that said second or Regent Higdon?
Higdon.
Okay. I'm going to ask our new parliamentarians to go if she will call the roll.
Oh,
More
okay.
more than happy to. Nice to meet you all. Any objections to the minutes? With no objections noted, the motion has passed by consensus.
And thank you very much. I guess I should have called upon you, but we've not got to meet yet, so it's nice meeting you on here.
It's totally fine. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Next agenda item is our draft agenda.
Yes. So we will be meeting on March 13th, starting at 9:00 a.m. in Versailles at the system office. We will start with a call to order, roll call, approval of minutes, the chair's report, the president's report, and then we will move into increase organization success. Our first item will be an action item, capital construction approval for the Big Sandy Community and Technical College HVAC upgrades. Then we will move into an update with a security master plan. Then update for the financial report. And then Regent Cox will be providing a update from the audit committee. Then we will move into another action item to discuss the KCTCS Board of Regents required reserves. And then action item, ratification of personnel actions. Then we will have an update on compression. And then an information item on KCTCS budget scenarios, including employee compensation. Then we will have an update from Dr. Stith on philanthropy. Then action on the building naming policy. And then an update where we will discuss the 2026 board meeting dates. After that, we will move into increased employment success and have an update from VP Shook on workforce and economic development. And then we will move into increased learner success, where we will start with an action item where we will ratify the KCTCS college's candidates for credentials. And then we will have an update on certificate and program approvals, an update on the KCTCS online learning assessment plan, and then an update on the enrollment report. And I do not believe we need the program costing analysis. It's on the one on the screen, but I believe that was a holdover from the last board meeting, so I do not believe that is needed. After that, we will move into the open comment period. and then executive session to discuss proposed or pending litigation. We'll announce the next meeting and then adjourn.
Okay. I mean, I think with one day, we can definitely handle all this. I mean, we handled more than this before, and so I don't think that we're going to be hard pressed at all with the day. Does anybody think? Do what?
I do need to add a couple of other items that came up yesterday. I was not able to get them posted, but we will probably, if the committee's amenable to a resolution on bonding authority and a section, an update on strategic planning.
Okay. I think we're good with adding that to the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Brianna?
Yeah, Chair Martin, thank you. So just to clarify, so I have this meeting down as a 2-day meeting. So we're saying now that we have put it back to a 1-day meeting, is that correct? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
It's still on my calendar for 2 days. Am I?
It was on my calendar too. That's why we wanted to talk about it today. We were doing a 1-day in Versailles and then 2 days at the campuses. And I think when we put it on the calendar, it was when we had scheduled the 2. So I really feel like 1 day we can get everything done in 1 day.
So would you mind, Shannon, too much if you'd scroll back up, please? I mean, there's no less information here, Chair Martin. I guess that's why I'm concerned why we would compress this all into 1 day, especially when we're talking about employee compensation and budget reserves, things that I know that are actually going to take some conversations typically, and they have in years past with the board as a whole. So, I mean, it just seems like we would kind of be trying to push through the day when, I mean, maybe would a half day and a full day not be amenable to other people since we already have it blocked out anyway?
I mean, we compress the KSR. I'm sorry, my phone is just going off. We compressed the stuff with the legislator, and we had a lot to go over then, and we had to hard press it to go to 9:30 on that Friday after being there on Thursday. So I just didn't want us to get to Thursday afternoon and be done, and then everybody had planned to be there tomorrow, the next day, and us not really need to be there.
Right. I guess that, definitely, kind of knowing that compression is a big part of us moving forward. And I know you got a lot of faculty and staff at this point who've been waiting, maybe 3, almost 4 years to actually hear something about this. And I just don't think these are conversations that need to be rushed through. Just from my point as a faculty regent, I feel like that I see some things here that, I feel like are going to take some time, including those budget scenarios, which, Mr. Kilburn, I do go ahead and apologize in advance. We always would go through those kind of ad nauseum in the past with Buddy Combs. So I just feel like that's going to take quite a bit of time, and I'm just not sure compressing the meeting into 1 day is a good idea. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Anybody else feel one way or the other? I mean, I don't want us to be hard pressed. I also don't want us to mismanage our time and plan for something that's going to not take as long. And the way they've been prepping us and preparing us with the stuff and supplying the stuff in advance, I think we're going to have plenty of time to review it and pose questions. So.
And Mr. Chair, I would agree that we don't want to obviously set up a scenario where we feel rushed, but we do spend a lot of time prepping for these meetings, of course. And we do feel like, given the pace that we worked at last year with our meetings, that we think we can get this done in 1 day. And just a little tidbit on compression. That's still a working group, so it's not like there's a specific scenario that's being proposed that needs action. It's more of This is where the working group is at. We've got several scenarios that are being considered. Please give us your input about what values you want to see in this. The same thing with the reserves policy is that we're working on what we hope to be an updated reserve policy that Todd Kilborn and the work group's working on right now. So there's several things that I think we can get through with it one day, but if our regents believe we need more than one day, we're happy to prepare for whatever scenario you want.
I mean, like I said, I think that, you know, we've gone over a lot of information before. And I just think it'd be more useful time to have it for one day. But if there's an overwhelming feel of a need that we're going to need more time, I don't want to hurry us by any means.
Regent Rabinowitz has her hand raised.
Hey, Kelly.
Could we just, I mean, if we're worried about time, can we just maybe work during lunch? Is that already planned that we're gonna do a working lunch? Is that able instead of adding a half day?
I mean, I think we can,
Yes.
you know, if we can want to work through lunch, I really feel like the way they prep us now is so much better. And, you know, if we can get the stuff on Monday and have Tuesday and Wednesday, you can send questions, you know, to Todd or Ryan or whoever you want to in advance. So, James Lee.
I think one day would be, you know, enough. And I was just thinking if we needed extra time, that's at least, you know, like an hour or so we can, if needed.
Just to clarify, Chair Martin, really quick, you're saying we can send questions to anyone, or are we still filtering all questions through Shannon? Just want to make sure.
If you have questions for Ryan or Todd or whoever, you can funnel those through to Shannon. I'm sorry.
Yes.
James Lee?
Well, I think you know, Chairman, how we've discussed this before, so I like the day and a half because of the travel, especially if we're getting new board members and they're traveling from other places, even at Versailles. I also like the interaction, the time we can spend more time together as a group. So I would like to continue the same format we've had with meeting on Thursday, especially when we're meeting at Versailles. Thank you, sir.
Okay, appreciate it. I really think we can still have our board dinner on Thursday night. Like we always do.
Or we could do it the night before.
Or the night before.
So I'm sorry again, just to clarify. So if we are talking about getting rid of the 2 calendar days of the meeting, we're talking about keeping the Friday date or the Thursday date? Because these are both already locked in on my calendar, and I assume they are on every other region's calendar. So which day is it we're thinking about foregoing? The Friday?
The Friday.
Okay. Well, I did not make any, I mean, I think, yeah, making any plans to travel on Wednesday night for a board dinner was not something that was in my plans.
We can still do the
Typically
Thursday
would be to come down at noon on Thursday and then kind of roll from there, which is the typical format that we've always had. And hey, I mean, I kind of feel like if we end early, and that's a bonus. But I feel like that this agenda does require quite a bit more conversation. I'm not sure exactly what the updates are, but I know that I'm going to have a lot of questions because I have a laundry list of questions that have already been sent to me about compression and compensation. So, you know, I just know that I feel like that typically, Shannon, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down again, sorry, to the next. Especially some of the things that we haven't heard in depth. I know some things got cut during our last meeting where we didn't really necessarily hear. I know there's ratification, and when we spent a lot of last meeting talking about SJR 179, and that was the bulk of the meeting, and not necessarily, you know, the day-to-day business of KCTCS. So Like I said, those are just my thoughts, but I just wanted to verify which day we would be getting rid of.
Right. The thought was Friday, because, that was going to free up a day for the staff also to be able to get their work done, and not have to deal with us for the morning. Breaks the whole day up. Hey, I'm okay with us doing starting Thursday at 10 or 11 or whatever, and then going in through Friday this time. But then the next meeting, we just need to schedule it for Thursday and take it off of everybody's calendar so they can adjust accordingly.
Yeah, Chair Martin, another thing to note too, I mean, we're already into the semester, so it's too late now, but I know Marty and I both have teaching loads and schedules, and we planned our remote days or our days in which we do not have appointments and advising appointments with students to be Friday. So Friday was always our free day. So I would respectfully request that the meeting day would be Friday and not Thursday, because otherwise it's a teaching day. Thank you.
Okay. Either way, I just think it's not real useful to break up a half a day, and then, realistically, we'll be there half a day on Thursday, half a day on Friday. So we're only there one day anyways, but we're breaking up 2 days. So that's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
Because, we tried this before we went to the campuses and it worked fine. The one day. We had plenty of time. Are we in agreement with that? Keep the schedule for this meeting on the Thursday, Friday, like we got it. And then the next meeting, we'll just have it on a Friday.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
Okay. What's next, Shannon?
I believe next is the bylaws revision discussion.
Okay.
Chair Martin, I'll jump in here. Again, Jessica Stegall for those that had to join a little bit later. I'm the new general counsel and parliamentarian. I'm looking forward to meeting you all at our next board meeting. But we're proposing consideration of changes to a couple sections of the bylaws. The first one is to update Article 2, Section 1. This is to reflect the SJR 179 recommendation of moving from 2 faculty, staff, and student regents to 1 of each. This is our governance bill that's currently working its way through legislation. So if that is in fact put into law, we'll have to make sure that's updated accordingly. The next one is consideration for reinstatement of an executive committee comprised of officers of the Board of Regents that would meet as needed by special called meeting notice. Prior to 2021, KCTCS operated with an executive committee. And then the third item for consideration is creation and utilization of a consent agenda. And then I apologize, one more, change of date of elections of faculty, staff, and student regents to the spring, and in particular for student regents, so that way they're available to participate in CPE activities over the summer. So again, we just wanted to mention this to all of you today for your thoughts and feedback. The process for these changes is to discuss them at this meeting. We would then provide revised policies or revised bylaws at the March meeting, in particular, the one changing the makeup of the 2 faculty, staff, and student regents to 1 of each, potentially for a vote at the March meeting.
Brianna?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Parliamentarian Stegall. So you did say that the elections then would move to March. Is that correct?
Correct. And the thought of doing this, of moving everybody to the spring, was so that we'd only have 1 board orientation for efficiency purposes.
Absolutely. And then you also mentioned, sorry, the second item. I was making notes here.
Creation or reinstatement of an executive committee.
Right, and that led to my question. We used to actually have a team site, a work group, where all the Board of Regents, it was just a very handy place to put all of the policies and potential policy revisions in one spot before we, kind of threw them on board. It was kind of almost like a working area out there. Do you intend to continue to use that, or will you just send those via email?
I'm not aware of that. We haven't been here very long, but that's something we'll definitely discuss and make sure that you will have time to review in preparation for the March board meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I'll review any new business.
Mr. Chair, I have an update if you want.
Okay. Yes.
If you don't mind, just a friendly reminder here that we have a geographic footprint working group going on right now in accordance with our SJR work. So we have an internal working group across the KCTCS looking at our facilities utilization. We also have started an enrollment task force as well. So this is long-term issues that we may address affecting our enrollment, but our enrollment is up right now, 7.4% from this time last year. So that's good news, but we want to make sure that we take what we learned from last year's FAFSA debacle to the enrollment cliff to other issues. And so we have an ongoing working group going on across KCTCS. Last week, we raised $65,000 for our food pantries, working with Feeding Kentucky as well. We had a sold out crowd, and Melissa from our staff really shined and did a great job there. Yesterday, we hosted the Kentucky Association of Manufacturers at KCTCS. And as you all know, Keith Hamilton, our vice chair, is part of that. So we're always happy to host these industry groups at our offices. We're also having a more in-depth conversation about our partnerships. We have so many partnerships across KCTCS, whether it's transfer agreements with other universities, whether it's our work with Workforce Solutions or partners and other government organizations. We're kind of a victim of our own success. We have so many partnerships that we have better management of that. So expect some ideas coming out about the strategy with managing partnerships at KCTCS. Just a friendly reminder, we'll remind you all again at the March board meeting that April is Community College Month across Kentucky, and we are actually looking for ways to engage our businesses with our Going Pro signing day. So chances are we're going to have a public event at a community college near you, and we're happy to invite you on campus to witness our students signing on, just like athletes do for an athletic team with a new job as well. Session is about 1/3 of the way through. We are literally there every day. There's a lot of moving parts going on, and I'm happy to give a more in-depth update at the March meeting on that and how it affects our SJR visions. The last thing I have is that we had a fantastic cabinet retreat. Now that I have a full team in place, we got off site and had a retreat several weeks ago, and I feel like our team is working very, very well together right now. And the last thing I have, Mr. Chair, since we are talking about future meetings, I know that I talked with you, but we're proposing that the June meeting be at ECTC and the September meeting at JCTC. A lot of construction going on and new buildings and programs at both those campuses. So just kind of put that in the back of your head, but you all obviously will determine where you would like to go, but that's our proposal.
Yeah, I think it's time to visit those two.
Yeah.
We can see the new training center at ECTC. That'd be nice.
That's great.
Any questions? Okay. So I guess our next meeting, our next policy and planning meeting will be when, Shannon?
May.
In May?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we tentatively have it held for the 15th, but I've
Okay.
got to check a few more calendars to make sure that works.
Okay, good deal. Okay, any other questions or concerns or updates?
Chair Martin, just as a point of note, so will those dates that you said that we will be going down to 1-day board meetings, will those dates be updated in our calendar so that we can change those?
Yes, and I guess that won't be until December.
Is
Right,
that correct?
Right.
Shannon, I see you shaking your head.
I believe so, yes. I think that was just for the ones at system office. So the
Gotcha.
campus visits will still be 2 days. So we'll go ahead and make those calendar adjustments. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Well, we want to welcome aboard the new members and the new staff members, Mallory and Jessica. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Todd, it's good seeing you. So y'all have a good evening and
I think we need a motion to adjourn.
oh, I'm
We
sorry.
do.
Jessica, you'll have to keep me in line. Sorry.
That is
Um,
okay.
Yes, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move, Regent Whitten.
Second,
Any objections to the motion to adjourn the meeting? Noting no objections, the motion to adjourn passes.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you
Everyone.
avoid the sickness out there.